Well, hello again. This is Gene Harm. I've been wanting to do an update on my aquarium for quite a while, and I'm finally getting one out. Now, I got a good excuse. For several months, I didn't want to do an update because I felt like I had nothing to talk about. But in reality, I did, and I'm gonna get into what it was because it wasn't good. and but I also wanted to wait until I made a trip to the Florida Keys this past summer. And now that the summer's coming to an end, I feel like I can go ahead and give you an update. Because it was a fishing trip to the Keys, and also as well as fishing, collecting tropicals. Now, I think I'd like to get to the business at hand of why initially I had something to talk about, but it wasn't good, and that is for the past year my fish tank has been in disarray. It just you could see some red algae in the sand there, but it was prevalent and it was just awful. And I've lost some coral due to it. I'm still having some effects, but I'm coming around the other side of it, which is really good. I'm starting to see my tank and water quality do better and the health of the tank recover. Look at the sponge I have. This purple sponge is just growing immensely and it's doing well. Probably when water quality is not good, the sponges do good. There's the blastomusa, and there's a coral banded shrimp I have. Now, if you're familiar with my tank, I have an Atlantic reef tank. So I try not to buy any fish from other parts of the world and keep it to Atlantic fish. And what I don't buy, I try to collect. Coral banded shrimp are something that you can readily collect in the Florida Keys, but I happen to buy that one. They're fairly inexpensive, and they don't live so long. They only live for a few years, but I decided I wanted one, and I've had him for I don't know 6 7 months now. He's maybe longer. He's been doing good. And I got these two butterflies, and both of them hand collected by myself. Actually, one of them I was trying to collect an angelfish, and I set up the net, and it was pursuing the angel. And while I was doing that, that butterfly swam right into it, and the guy I was with, he actually scooped them up for me. So I'll say I collected one of the butterflies, and the other one also I got this summer. I think it was in July. July is when I got it. So July of 2022, I got the bigger butterfly, and I hand collected the other one. It's been over a year ago. I have to look back at my previous videos where I show you that butterfly eating. So he's well over a year, going on 2 years, if not 2 years, of having a butterfly in my tank. Now I have two. And yeah, I kind of held off because I didn't want to just post a video after collecting and say, hey, this is what I have, and this is, because I wanted to have them alive in my tank at least a couple months. And then I know that they survived, they made it, and they're okay. But you can see here, this rock, this used to be all Superman, Capricornus, and it mostly died off, but in fact, I thought I lost it all, but you can see this. It's hard to see in the white balance of this. Not the best camera, but there is some fragments of Superman still alive, and hope to see that it's going to recover. I've had that happen to me before, where thought I completely lost it, and that whole rock got covered in it. So now that the health of my aquarium's better, I'm looking forward to it. That sponge is just fabulous. Butterflies, they prefer to eat off of a solid rather than, off a solid piece of substrate rather than right off the water column. But now that I got two butterflies, one was difficult. The first one, to get them, to train them to feed, took some time. And that's the trick with them. You quite often with butterflies, you run out of time, and before they feed well, and if that happens, you lose them. But if you can get them, and to me the secret is these worms. So but you can see my angelfish in the tangs. They're taking the butterfly worms from them, but they've have learned. So once I got the second butterfly, he was easily trained quite quickly by watching the original, which took a while. But they both eat now. They're eating the worms right out of the water column, which is awesome. So it's great having two butterfly. So I hand collected them, but back to the old tank. So being an older tank, it goes through its times. It goes through the times where it's not so beautiful and algal takes over, and you have these things that are the water quality ends up being problematic. It's constant maintenance, and it's a work. It takes time. It takes work. It takes maintenance, and I'm a traveling guy for work, so. Sometimes when I'm home, and I'm home, on the weekends for sure. I may not be into maintaining the aquarium, but it has to be. So, actually, I think one of the things after many, many months was I was doing ward changes, trying to get it back, and I had a bucket of salt, and I don't know what happens to salt when it ages, but it was very old. I mean, years old. And I decided to discard that and get a fresh bucket of salt, and it seemed to make all the difference. And I'm feel like I'm back on track. I have pretty good white sand now. I always use the culture media that you add every other week to help the water quality. That makes a big difference. Red Sea has a product. It's kind of akin to the vodka dosing, but Red Sea has a product. I forgot what it's called. No Pox or something like that, and can use that as well. It makes a huge difference in keeping good water quality. Some people think additives like that is a cheat. This whole realm of trying to have an ecosystem in a 4 or 5 foot box is is not going to happen. You have to use every cheat you have at your disposal, and you can have these beautiful aquariums for a few years, and you keep throwing money at it, and they're just awesome. But you keep an aquarium for decades, like I have, over 15, 16 years old. That the age gets to it, and the temptation to continually buy fish and corals, that's hard. And if I was to say, hey, there's a tip that I have for keeping an old aquarium, is don't fall into buying all the new corals, and just cultivate what you have. I mean, this frog spawn, I've given away more than I think I have right at the moment, as you see. But so this summer I collected another four-eyed butterfly, Atlantic butterfly. These fish, these Atlantic fish, these butterfly and the angelfish, they're known to not be coral safe. And I've got to the point in the hobby in all these years that I'm throwing caution to the wind and saying, hey, if they eat the corals, they eat the corals. And that's kind of where I'm at. But you can also see I have this beautiful gray angelfish here. What a beauty. And I collected him this summer too, back in July. And that's quite a catch. I really wanted a French angel, but I got this gray angel. And they also have their own beauty. It's a little different. And I was hoping to get a queen angel. I had the opportunity for one, but I didn't see as many as I hoped for. But that's where I'm at now, and glad you can join me and see the update to this aquarium. It's back on track. It's doing well. The corals so far haven't been decimated by the angel. I suspect that sometime in the future that will happen, but right now we'll see. So we'll catch you next time.